Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are now on to episode 12 of season 3, which is War of the Coprophages. Dang it, I have no idea.
You've probably said that right. I would have said coprophages, but I think you'd probably be right. It's just a stupid word. Why couldn't they have just said cockroaches?
Well, I looked it up,
yeah.
Brian.
Right,
I looked up the word because I was just so curious of what it is. And it is an animal such as the rabbit that feeds on its own feces, or one such as the dung beetle that feeds on those of other animals. So it's the War of the Poo Eaters.
Not just poo eaters, but own poo eaters.
Yeah.
So basically eat their own excrement. Great.
Yummy.
Right. On that note, lovely stuff.
Yes.
So I suppose you'll be wanting to know where this sits in the pantheon of the X-Files legacy.
Absolutely.
So I did my little handiwork, looked on IMDb, checking out the rankings. Just as a guess, where do you think this came up? Where do you think it ranked?
See, I'm a little bit worried that my guesses are going to give away what I think of the episode, but I'm trying to think what everybody else thinks. So I am going to guess 67.
67. Okay. Yes. Yeah, you're wrong. It came in at 20.
20? Wow.
20, yeah. So of 217 episodes, this is number 20 as voted for by IMDb X-Files fans, at any rate.
Right. See, now I'm all conflicted because I'm trying to guess what the fans would think, but I don't really talk to many X-Files fans or have much knowledge about them, so it's all supposition. Utterly pointless. Okay.
And on that note, we'll get into it. So
get into the episode, yes. And this one was written by
Darren Morgan. So
Morgan.
So this is basically
is this his second episode?
This is his third. So he gave us Humbug, and then he gave us Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose.
Yes.
Which, let's face it, has been the best episode of this season so far. I think we both gushed over that one when it came on. You might need to have a rewatch before you do your ranking at the end of the season.
Yes. No, I know exactly, because that's one that stuck in my mind. The particular, just to jump back, the particular moment that always stuck with me was when he tells Scully, "You're going to be holding me in your hands," as a tear rolls down your face. That left a mark. As these episodes generally do when written by this guy. So we jump into the Miles Grove, Massachusetts, and we get a wonderful monologue, right? by basically an exterminator. But here's the question for you. Why does he have the lights off in somebody else's basement? Has he walked down there, turned the lights off, then to do his monologue under a torch? It's just
well, I think it's so that he can shine a light on the cockroach so that the person can see it directly and pretty much give his monologue. But so the guy gives this ridiculously long monologue that kind of makes him appear as if he really appreciates the species on some kind of level, and then he just squishes it under the foot.
It's almost like a cockroach kind of reaction.
Yeah, so there's a guy who's the guy who owns the property, obviously, that he's gone to clear out. He just really does not like cockroaches, and he's asking him he asks him a question, and then the guy just crushes the cockroach and says, "Look, pal, I just kill him." I just like. So after his big long speech, it's like he actually doesn't know.
Do you know? It reminded me a lot of John Goodman's character in Arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia. That's exactly what I was thinking, to be honest.
So we get to see the cockroaches attacking him, or so it seems. Or to be initially, I thought he was having a heart attack, and then was attacked by the cockroaches or enveloped by them. But it's a cool sequence.
Did you catch his name? Did you?
Nope.
So on the van, his business name is Dr. Bugger. Dr. Bugger turns up to your house to kill some
exterminate something. Yeah. Not Dr. Bug. No,
not Dr. Bug. Dr. Bugger. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, so Mulder calls Scully from the car whilst doing a spot of thinking about aliens looking down on us like bugs, maybe. And Scully says the probability of intelligent aliens is anti-Darwinian. So this is quite there's a quite interesting setup in this episode, in the sense that it's actually the scientist who is saying that from a scientific perspective, it doesn't make much sense for intelligent aliens to exist. That the chances that we even exist from a scientific perspective are so great, so monumental, that the fact that it could happen twice, even in the universe, is highly doubtful. That's the case she makes anyway. But this scene itself kind of sets up what I think is kind of the main theme of the whole episode. And I also think, you talk about arachnophobia, I also think Men in Black when I see this one. You think at the end of the first Men in Black film, when we zoom out of our universe and we're actually just inside a little marble that's being played with by aliens, and it's just it's this huge kind of visualization of just how insignificant we actually are, despite the fact that we place such significance on our own beings. And I feel like that's the theme of this episode, that cockroaches obviously are the perfect vehicle to examine that, because they are essentially considered the scum of the earth. Like cockroaches are just, they're the thing nobody wants in their home. They get exterminated, they eat crap, but they have an uncanny ability to survive. And I feel like the episode essentially says, that's us. We're the cockroaches. Yeah. Or we are just as similar as cockroaches. And there could very well just as easily be some intelligent life form out there that looks down on us and thinks, ew, what a bunch of cockroaches. So
yes. But I like this scene a lot because it shows me a couple of things. First, we get the bug landing on the windscreen, and you don't know it's a windscreen. It's a really cool image, and that'll be reciprocated again throughout the episode, because it happens a couple of times. And you get the beginning of the mundanity of Scully's life. Mulder, on his downtime, he's out dreaming about aliens, trying to find them. Scully's cleaning her gun at this moment, and we'll get to several other moments of just general housework, which is just it's fun and really playful, and it gives you, as silly as it is, it gives you an insight into the characters as well, while being funny. It's great.
Which is something that Morgan is an expert at doing. Is I think some people can make the mistake of coming into a Darren Morgan episode and just thinking, oh, it's one of the funny ones. It's like, because some people aren't that. There are actually some X-Files fans out there. You look on the boards and stuff, they hate these ones because they're like, they just turn the series into a joke. And it's like, well, actually, no, they have fun with it. I think they are genuinely funny. But I think Morgan is an expert at really dealing with certain thematics in a way that I don't really see other writers on the show doing quite as well with. I think he embeds whatever theme it is he's exploring, he tends to embed it within every scene. And I think because he plays a lot with jokes, I think maybe they get written off in that regard.
I think, I don't know how many episodes this guy has written, but I'll tell you right now, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Just to, so we get to the return of the douchebag sheriff, or so it seems. Give people what they want.
Yeah, local sheriff comes to speak to Mulder, suspecting he's a drug dealer, gets nervous when Mulder mentions seeing a bug, then gets a call about another roach attack. So,
Yes.
yeah, I love how he reaches for his gun as soon as he said, like, I just saw a bug on the window, and he's like, like he's gonna just come across a perp. It's just like,
that's the thing. It's like, what are you doing here? You here to meet your dealer? No. But I did see a bug. It's just such a ridiculous moment, but it's so funny.
Yeah.
So we move on.
It's another thing there about paranoia, because the episode does deal quite a bit with paranoia and the escalation of it. The way that things spread like that. So
yeah, absolutely. So we jump into the next scene, which is
so Mulder calls Scully again. Because in this episode, basically, whenever something happens, Mulder calls Scully. Scully gives a really rational, scientific explanation about it, which for some bizarre reason Mulder actually accepts. So in this case, Mulder calls Scully about the other roach attack, which is the one we saw at the beginning, and tells him that the 3 people who have died most likely did so from an allergic reaction resulting in anaphylactic shock. And the most surprising thing about this is the fact that Mulder's just like, I'm sure you're right.
It's the seems plausible.
Yeah, it's like, that's not Mulder. What's happened to Mulder?
And it's Scully's like, do you need me to come out? No, you're right.
I'm sure you're probably right. Yeah, it's just like that. That's the biggest X-file here, is Mulder's attitude towards Scully's rational explanations. But so we go from there to a pair of characters that I can't remember if this is the first time we've seen them, but it certainly ain't the last. So these 2 druggy characters, they pop up.
Do they? They pop up again, but
they pop up throughout the series. Yeah,
they're similar to the Jack Black episode.
Yes. They kind of feel a bit like DPO. I can't remember if they were even in that episode actually, but I don't think
so. I think they just remind me of a couple of the characters.
Yeah, no, I think these are a Darren Morgan creation. So, but they definitely appear in multiple episodes.
And they are they're huffing poo. Get high,
which basically feeds into the whole concept of the episode itself, War of the Coprophages. You think about, what is, as we say, a coprophage. It's a species that eats its own poo, and what we get here,
in some way.
or consumes in some way. So what we get here is a bunch of humans consuming their own poo in some way, proving, or as if to prove, that we are indeed cockroaches. Again, it's that. So you take a concept that is ridiculous, a bunch of druggies, whatever. What can you say with that? Well, actually, you can say quite a lot. You can make a commentary on the whole of human existence by just looking at cockroaches and then looking at a bunch of drug dealers consuming their own poo, inhaling their own poo.
Yes. And it does have Tyler Labine as one of the druggies. I kind of like this actor as well. So
yeah. I can't say I remember. I know his face, but I can't say that I know what he's been in.
He's in the TV show Reaper. He was in Tucker and Dale versus Evil. He was in Super Troopers 2. He turned up in
all the classics. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he's in probably more famous things, but that's what I know him from.
Yeah. So these druggies, these 3 druggies, 2 that will reappear on multiple occasions, and they try to convince their lady friend to sample their goods. Then one of them, which is quite amusing, and then one of them, in the most disgusting scene, he sees a cockroach burrowing into his skin, into his wrists, and travelling down his arms, and then proceeds to slit his wrist basically to get the thing out. And yeah, it's gross.
And terrifically well done. It looks great. You know, even you're looking back now, it doesn't look dated or unusual. It's better than The Mummy that came out in '99.
Yes. This is mid-90s. This is mid-90s, and it still looks good. It holds up. It's there are some shows these days that are doing effects work that still doesn't look as good. So yeah, good job, Matt Beck, I believe. So, once again, Mulder arrives on the scene and calls Scully, who is washing the dog she inherited from Clyde Bruckman. Queequeg is the name of this dog. I don't know if she mentions the name in this particular episode, but...
I don't think so. I don't remember that.
Yeah, right. Well, the dog's called Queequeg. So she's washing the dog. And she tells Mulder that it sounds like a drug-induced condition called Ekbom syndrome. To which Mulder's like, "You're probably right."
Seems plausible.
Yeah, seems plausible. Click. Now, I looked up Ekbom syndrome, and unfortunately, I didn't actually write down the definition when I saw it. But pretty much, yeah, it kind of... It did sound reasonably plausible if you wanted to go down that route as a scientist. But again, you know, Mulder just being so accepting of it is very strange indeed. But then Mulder then catches a cockroach at the scene, and when he picks it up, it disintegrates in his hand, but also cuts him, showing that it's actually made of metal, which is very bizarre.
Yes.
I do like these. The way some of these scenes are shot, though, from the cockroach's eye view, where you have the fisheye lens and Mulder kind of peering into it and stuff.
It's great.
So Mulder goes to see a doctor, and the doctor gets really pissy with him and apparently constipated with Mulder after Mulder says he doesn't know what's going on.
Again, more crap.
Yeah,
the movie's always about the TV show's about poo. It's generally everybody's either talking about it or dealing with it,
alluding to it in some way. Yes. Yeah. So the guy's just like basically says that after talking with you, Agent Mulder, I'm feeling somewhat constipated or something to that effect. So that it goes off to the toilet. The sheriff, he too wants to know, so he starts grilling Mulder. Like, go on then, what's really happening? You know, between two law enforcement guys. And Mulder's like, seriously, I don't know. So Mulder tries to alleviate his fears while the doctor dies on the toilet after loads of cockroaches enter his bathroom stall. Mulder and the sheriff find another roach, but Mulder drops it down the sink because he's an imbecile and he's not having much luck at capturing these things. It's
which I kind of like because it gives you a little fright because it comes alive again. You think he's dead, and then he's already been stung once by closing his hand on it and getting cut. He's probably trying to be a little bit more gentle. So it feels it's not just clumsiness, it's probably you try to be a little bit too careful.
Yeah.
Either way.
Fair. Because like obviously you have been cut by this thing. Plus, hey, it's a cockroach. Who wants to pick up a cockroach? So when that thing starts moving, it does actually genuinely creep me out. And it's a remarkable shot as well. Because they've got this shot of this cockroach in someone's hands that's really still. And then starts moving, and it's just the way it's filmed. It's like, you know, it's not CGI; it's a genuine cockroach. So yeah, it's just.
I mean, I'm just making stuff up, obviously, but I've seen before that what they do with some of these things is partially freeze them, and then the heat from the hand could. Strike back. Either way, it's a brilliant jump scare.
That's actually a good story on Phenomena, the film, the Dario Argento film. Which I'm sure you've probably watched the special features on that one. So there's a story on there where, because obviously there's a section in the film where, and this is a bit of a sidetrack, but there's a section in the film where all these insects kind of just invade, and they wanted to get real insects to do it, and they froze them all so that they'd be ready. And then when they brought them all in, there was something to do with the heat. It was too hot or something. And these damn things just multiplied and then swarmed the town that they were filming in. So, but no, it's a really effective scene, and the cockroach wrangler definitely earned his pay on that day. So Mulder calls Scully again, and what I love about this is how she picks up the phone, and even without asking who it is, she just says, "Who died now?"
Yeah.
So
while she's reading her book.
Yeah, while she's reading a book, just casually picks up the phone. "Who died now?" And she suggests the perfectly plausible explanation of a burst aneurysm whilst straining on the toilet.
And yet again, seems plausible.
Yeah. The fact that there's cockroaches spotted at every single one of these sites is not plausible whatsoever, but whatever.
And that they're made of metal.
Yes, and that they're made of metal. So Mulder breaks into a government facility, because when he was speaking with the sheriff made mention of this government facility in the town that they're not allowed in. Even the local law enforcement aren't allowed in there. So Mulder breaks into it to see what it's all about. It's supposedly agricultural experiments that are being conducted. Yeah. Scully phones him while he's in there to tell him she's done research that suggests the town could be experiencing the introduction of a new breed of cockroach. Then roaches begin to pour out of the walls, and Dr. Bambi shows up.
Oh, hell yes. I was like, it's like the Christmas Jones of TVs, you know?
Yeah.
Just like, this is awesome. And the girl was very familiar. I couldn't place her. Right. I'm sure I've seen her in something before. But yes, all kinds of yes. And Mulder just goes all googly-eyed.
Yeah. Although, I gotta say, Scully's still my girl.
Do you know what she was in?
What?
Murder 1. She was the wife.
Oh, really? That series that was just like the one case that went across the whole season?
Yes. Yeah. She was like one of the main players in that.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Well, she's definitely a main player in this episode. So many... This is the only episode she's ever in, but so many X-Files fans really love this character. And I'm guessing most of them are male. To be honest, so
I just love her because of the way Mulder acts round about her. Schoolboy, schoolboy crush,
big time schoolboy, yeah.
And just even calling her Bambi,
yeah. But he doesn't change who he is, and that's what I like about Mulder. He doesn't change who he is. It just brings out more of who he is. Like he's allowed to be a geek.
No, there's a point later on where she kind of like poo-poos the idea of extraterrestrials, and he's just like, yeah.
Okay, I stand corrected. Yeah, the cockroaches in the wall, it's quite disgusting. It's got to be said.
Yes.
I really don't like insects. I don't like cockroaches. So this is just ew.
I find it uncomfortable when they start to swarm like that. You know, when it's just they're flooding out.
Yeah. Like somebody's just pushing them out with it. Yeah,
which they're probably doing.
Yeah. Big time. Ugh. So Bambi explains to Mulder her theory of UFO sightings and says that insects are honest. They eat, sleep, defecate, procreate. And says that humans do the same, but pretend it's more than that, suggesting we put ourselves on a pedestal and are, in fact, no more important than insects.
That's the scene. That's the scene where she's talking about the making the light in the sky, and that it's not UFOs. And Mulder's just like, yeah, of course, totally. I'm with you 100% on that.
But it's also in this moment when Mulder's phone goes and he answers it and just goes, "Not now," and then puts it down, just totally blows out Scully, and it's just like, oh dude, that's not cool. That is not cool.
So funny.
But yeah, so again, touching on the whole theme of the episode there, which is essentially we have ideas above our station. Are we really as important as we think we are, or are we no better than cockroaches? So yeah. Okay, so we go to a hotel room where a man is lay on a bed and he's watching TV. While roaches begin to swarm. He seems pretty oblivious to them, and they're just like, they're just all over his bed, and it's just like, come on, dude.
Hang on. Some of the most disgusting feet I have ever seen. Anything ever.
Oh my! Yeah, clean your feet, dude. Clean your feet.
I literally thought they were going to repel the cockroaches. Even the cockroaches would go near them. Yeah.
So we go from there, and so this guy, where he's sleeping, it just so happens to be the same hotel that Mulder's sleeping at. And Mulder wakes up in his hotel room, and he does this thing which I'm sure we've all done at times, where he starts slapping his face because he feels like something just crawled on him. I've done that. I've done that when I'm awake, when I've been sat watching TV, and I'll feel something. And I'll think, "Whoa, no!"
Yeah.
I feel like there's a spider on me or something. And it's just you kind of overreact to it. But yeah, so Mulder does that, but there's nothing there. And then he calls Scully, and he tells her about Dr. Bambi, to which she takes the piss, like kind of Dr. Bambi. Her name is Bambi. Yeah, exactly. And before telling her why he hates bugs, to which she takes the piss once more, because he says it wasn't a girly scream, and then at the end she's like, "Are you sure it wasn't a girly scream?" Like she's not been listening to anything he's been saying. She's just been fixated on that fact that maybe he screamed like a girl. But he says that instead of being in awe of nature, he was repulsed, i.e., we hate what we don't understand. Which, again, is when you think about this idea that maybe we've put ourselves on a pedestal, that we think we're better than insects or more than insects, and insects are lower than us, they're filth or whatever. Does that sense of disgust, that repulsion, as Mulder puts it, come from the fact that we simply don't understand them? Like, if you look at the character of Dr. Bambi, she's someone who's studied these things a whole lifetime. She appreciates them, she respects them, and she's come to kind of almost put them on the same level of existence as herself in many ways. And is that because she understands them? So yeah, it's a really great kind of discussion there, I think. But, so we hear a scream down the hall. So there are three men at the guy's door. So this is the guy who was sleeping on the bed or lying on the bed. He's now dead.
Yep.
Three men are looking. One of whom is the guy from the beginning, from the opening sequence, who'd called out the exterminator. He's quite an important character, actually. And I gotta say, watching this episode this time around, because I was making notes on every scene for the purpose of reviewing, this is the first time that I feel like I picked everything up on this episode.
Right, okay.
There's a lot of stuff, particularly with this character towards the end, where I got to the point where I'm like, hang about, what's happening now? I don't get what's going on. And I think that's when you just watch it, as 40-minute episode, don't pause it or anything, take notes of it like that. There are some stuff I think that can go over your head, and clearly always has done with me. So yeah, this is an important character to kind of keep track of, really. But yeah, he's there. He's lurking in the hallway. He's really got a thing against roaches, and he's already witnessed one supposed attack, and now he's just kind of seen another. So the three men find the TV watching dude covered in roaches. They run away as Mulder arrives, but when Mulder looks inside the room, the roaches are gone.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And then we cut from there to Scully packing. So
Yes.
she's packing. She's already made a decision. That's it. She's getting down there. She's figured something's just not right. Mulder calls. He says she was right about all the deaths and puts the latest one down to a heart attack. She says she's coming anyway, and then he says the cockroach he squished was indeed made of metal. Then he finds another one. So
I think in this scene, is there not? I've got a note of it here. It said hung like a club-tailed dragonfly.
Yeah, because he takes it to Bambi, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And she examines it, and that's when she comes out with that remark. Yeah,
that terrific line, which I just love.
Yeah. So she does confirm that it is mechanical and puts Mulder onto a scientist who just happens to be local, which is convenient. So a local scientist.
It's funny when you mention that. It's like the foremost mind on this subject just happens to be 2 doors down. If you're interested,
and yet she's never met him.
Yeah.
Like this is her field. This is what she loves studying. She's read this guy's work. She loves this guy. This is like me having Bob Kane live 2 doors down. The creator of Batman. I could just go and have a conversation. It's like, why have you not been to see this guy? But yeah, she knows of him, but she doesn't know him, and she puts Mulder into contact with him, and he makes robotic insects.
Yes.
Yes, robotic insects. Very 90s looking robotic insects. If you look at the ones that are crawling around on the floor, but so. So he goes to see this scientist who has been in the X-Files before.
All right, okay.
I can't remember which episode he was in, but he did. I'm sure he played a scientist. It was either Erlenmeyer Flask or Colony Endgame. He might have been the clones in Colony and Endgame, or one of those. He looks a bit different here. But he's definitely been in the X-Files before. I know that much. He's one of those Vancouver actors that just kind of pops up once a season. So, so the scientist believes that his robots are the future of space exploration. So I do like this. I like this. I like hearing the reasons for why you would want to make robotic insects, because when Mulder gets there and you see this thing crawling around, I do think, okay, that's great, it's cute, but why? And actually there's a pretty good explanation, or a pretty good reason to build these things, which is space exploration. So he says that trying to mimic the human brain is too hard, but insects just react and so can be easily mimicked. And this highlights again the godlike difference in comparison that man has above insects. Mulder suggests, and the scientist agrees, that if intelligent aliens do exist, then in all likelihood they would send robots to check out our planet rather than coming themselves. When Mulder shows him the mechanical roach, he is stunned as a cockroach crawls across the screen.
Yes, which is great. I love that.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that Mulder has just single-handedly destroyed this guy's life work by showing him, and it's never touched upon. But it shook him so badly that he just turns to alcohol immediately. Basically, everything you've dedicated your life to, somebody's bet you to it.
Yeah, somebody's done far better. But I do I really do love that whole theory about, if aliens are that advanced to travel across the vastness of space, then would they really put themselves in danger to come over and investigate harsh planets? Or would they send robots?
Yeah.
Which would make an awesome film that isn't Battleship.
It's not bad. All right, I'm thinking of that other horrible one. What is it?
Transformers.
The John Travolta.
Oh, Battlefield Earth. Oh,
Yes.
cringe. Yeah. No. Well, I mean,
Get off me.
they are actually aliens, but no, like in Battleship, they said it's robots in it.
Yeah.
A bunch of robots come down. So, in that respect, it's a good idea. But yeah, I think you could do something really like in the horror genre with that. You know, like insectoid robots.
What about my brain is not working tonight at all, Brian. The movie Mimic. There's like a horror version of that where they did the cockroaches that were humanoid.
Yeah. But
not aliens, but kind of horror nonetheless.
Yeah. I just think you could do something with like clearly metallic, robotic, like all different kinds of robots that all have different functions and do different things that just come down to the planet and lay waste to humanity to prepare the planet but that.
That's pretty much Transformers, isn't it?
It is, but good. I think that there is a good version of that out there. Yeah, I'd give it Lee Wannell. Let Lee Wannell do something with it.
He would touch that with a barge pole.
Well, don't know.
You'd probably put 2 Autobots in a bathroom with one chained to like a radiator with a hacksaw.
No, I'm not saying Transformers. Do away with Transformers. Anyway, we digress. We digress big time. So Scully enters a store to find a roadmap, and it's total chaos as people are panic buying. Panic buying. That's the first thing people do because we're such consumers. The first thing we do in any crisis is panic buy.
Do you know what I love about this scene? Right, and there's no explanation at all. And I rewound it to watch it again. There's a guy dressed like a 50s sailor that grabs chocolate in nylon tights and leaves. Everybody's grabbing bug spray and that. He just grabs tights and chocolate. And I'm like, why is nobody going, why is he dressed like this? I just love it.
She walks into the chaos, tries to calm everyone down, but 2 women fight over the last can of Die Bug Die. They knock over a load of chocolate peanuts, and a man screams, "Roaches!" causing everyone to flee, except Scully, who just eats one of the chocolate-covered peanuts.
Yeah.
Like mega mass hysteria in this small town. People going nuts, but
and I love these kind of scenes where people are going nuts, but for some reason one person can just walk through it unscathed. Like it's as if they're avoiding her because they don't get near her. She's sane.
It's because she's not nuts. She can keep her calm, stay cool, and just breeze on through. But it's
again
a funny scene.
She's technically she shoplifted that chocolate peanut. She's supposed to be a person of authority.
Yeah.
I'll let it off though.
I think in this instance, so Mulder leaves the scientist to his bottle. On the way out, he picks up a cockroach. Greetings from planet Earth, he says. Which I don't know why, and I'm going to appear inexplicably stupid at this point. This line of dialogue, I never actually realised that Mulder was speaking to whatever aliens might be looking through.
How did you know?
I don't know. This is what I'm talking about. I've watched this episode quite a few times, and I've always felt like it was one of the weakest of the Darren Morgan episodes.
Right.
And I think a lot of that was because there was quite a few bits in it that just went over my head. And I think because I was always watching it as a fairly passive viewer, I watched it for the laughs. Whereas, obviously, when you're reviewing, you have to get a more critical head on. So when we're going through these, and I'm jotting down what happens in each scene, I've got to come up with what I think about that scene and what I think it's saying, and it's just, it just hit me this time around that he wasn't talking to an insect; he was talking to an alien probe and literally saying "Greetings from planet Earth." I know that sounds really, really stupid, I do like to assure everyone out there, I have a master's degree. I'm not stupid. I'm not a stupid man. But there are moments when that seems to not be the case.
You say moments, I say evidence. Anyway,
yeah.
It's just, I guess it's one of those things, but it's got that funny camera angle again as he's in at the screen seeing it. Yeah. It's a nice little moment. Nonetheless.
So Bambi tells Mulder it's just your typical roach. So, and Scully calls to tell Mulder that there is a dung facility nearby and that as roaches love dung, it's possible this new species, which she's theorised, was shipped in through there. Yes. Mulder offers up his alien probe theory. Scully says no. And from the look on her face, so does Bambi.
Yeah. It's a not plausible click.
Yeah. The thing is, Mulder forgets himself here. Which, again, this is quite a telling little scene, which is that once Mulder gets with Scully, once he's talking with Scully, he becomes himself. Because he forgets that Bambi is sat right next to him. And before, he could have come out with all this gumph before when she was giving her theory, but he didn't, because he was all, googly eyes. Yeah. But now that he's talking to Scully, he just literally blurts out his typical Mulderisms, and Bambi's like still sat there going, what the hell? Like,
he's probably, Mulder's probably thinking to himself, oh, Dr. Bugger. He's like, bugs.
Bugs, eh? They're fun. But, so, and again, it feels like, it's a good kind of way of giving plausibility to Scully's kind of theory. I mean, obviously, still the metal cockroach thing that kind of really shatters that. But as they've now got no real evidence, because Mulder squished it to bits.
Yes.
But, so Mulder goes... So Mulder goes there with Bambi, tells her to wait in the car for safety, due mostly to the human element, namely the dude from the beginning of the episode who works at the plant. So we kind of see here why this guy might have something against bugs. He works at a dung plant. There are loads of cockroaches there. He's seen 2 people die with cockroaches around, and he is proper mental at this point. He's basically gone completely off the rocker. He's walking around with a can of bug spray and a gun and just as you do, a dung plant full of methane and all that, So
if the spray doesn't get them, the bullet will. Crazy. And then Scully appears, and
I knew I knew you'd zone in on this scene. I knew you'd want to describe the scene because it's like just got that Scully love in there. Just
it's got she pulls out the gun and cocks it, and we know that thing's lethal because she's just cleaned it. We've seen it at the start of the episode, and she's just like Dr. Bambi, I presume. Stay in the car.
So it seems he is the one suffering from Ekbom syndrome, although with good reason. Mulder tries to reason. Right, yeah. So, Mulder tries to reason with the guy, but doesn't do a particularly good job of it. I love the disdain that when. Oh, sorry, I've overjumped here, and
yes, you've jumped a little bit.
So,
Mulder tries to rationalise with Eccles when he's walking around about he tries to bring him down. Yeah. But I love the way the doctor quite rationally says to him, am I crazy? Or are you actually?
The thing that I wanted to say is just that I love the disdain that Scully shows towards Bambi when she calls him Fox.
Yeah.
Because, there's that famous scene back in Tombs when Mulder says, I even made my mum call me Mulder.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that from here on out, whenever we see his mum, she always calls him
Brian,
Fox.
I didn't even think, but it's just so silly. Like, she's called Bambi, it's ridiculous. He's called Fox, which is equally ridiculous, isn't it? Really? Yeah.
Fox and Bambi. Yeah.
Fox and deers aren't exactly the best of playmates. So.
No, not really. But but I just love that when she says Fox told me to wait in the car, Scully's just like, oh. Like, you can literally see that she's contemplating putting a bullet in her right there. Just
now I'm wondering if that's the point she cocks the gun or not.
So, yeah, and then she says, this is no place for an entomologist. So Mulder tries to calm the man down, says he's just human, and he says, well, so Mulder legs it, because this guy's clearly about to shoot. Well, he starts shooting, and sparks in a place filled with methane obviously is not a good thing. So Mulder legs it, dragging Scully out with him just as the building blows to pieces, covering them both in crap.
Yes, I love the fact they're covered in crap. I think it's just great. I think it's utterly wonderful. And then they get the return of the good doctor and Bambi and the quote from Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
And they
it's
kind
my
of
favourite movie.
Go off into the sunset, almost the distance together.
Yeah. Two kindred spirits with their love for insects, both mechanical or otherwise. They could do a spin-off series, to be honest. Those two could be in a spin-off series of their own. Bambi and whatever the hell the guy's name was.
The Coprophages. You get a little. I really like this, Brian. I don't know why. The little epilogue with just Mulder writing up the reports. You know, it kind of throws back to earlier episodes where that used to happen with one of the characters.
Yeah.
You know, and you're patiently waiting for the cake, aren't you? Like they tease you. You get the cake in the foreground, and you're just like, when's it appearing? When's it going to appear there? It's great.
You got a cockroach. So he's writing up his case file. He talks about humans having perhaps gone as far as they can go, and that if an advanced alien species came across us, would they find us to be so primitive that we'd be repulsive? Again, harkening back to how he felt when he saw insects back when he was a child. Then, as if to show us that he has learned absolutely nothing, he squashes the cockroach that's near his cake. So it's like he's just had these deep inner monologues about trying to come to some sense of understanding with the lower species on the planet, and making ourselves more advanced by appreciating all life forms and growing in understanding. And then he sees a cockroach and just goes
yeah.
So
the base
he's learned
emotion.
nothing. Yeah. So wrap up.
I thought War of the Cockroaches was 5 out of 5 for me. I utterly loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I loved the repetition that kept coming from the Scully phone calls and the jokes and just in the complete silliness. I thought it had genuine moments of ickiness with the cockroaches that made your skin crawl or made you scratch at it or claw at it in one way or another. And I think both Scully and Mulder in these movies I keep saying movies because they feel that great. And these episodes feel far more fleshed out than they do in other episodes. I honestly wish he did more of these episodes. I think they're terrific.
Definitely. I think when we eventually get to reviewing the movie, you're going to end up calling that this episode. In this episode, I'd be like, dude, it's the movie now. So, but yeah, totally agree. 5 out of 5 from me. Like I say, I missed a lot of the stuff that I missed was the stuff with the guy at the plant at the end. I was like, why is this guy popping up again? what's going on, and I missed a lot of the explanation with regarding alien probes and how that fed in, and just the ending to me, just I never quite got what was happening. And this time I did, and the whole episode, I just think again, it's a testament to Darren Morgan as a writer, that he finds a theme, he finds something he wants to talk about, and every scene talks about it. It's just, yeah. I think whether it's destiny versus fate in Clyde Bruckman, or whether it's living as a freak, the outsider in Humbug, and here, humanity putting itself on a pedestal and really being no better than an insect. It's just he takes something, takes an idea, and he really runs with it, and it's just fantastic stuff. Absolutely loved it. 5 stars from me.
Yeah. Okay, so Brian, what is the next episode?
The next episode, I believe, is Grotesque.
No.
I think, is it not Syzygy? No.
Yes.
Syzygy, yeah.
Yeah.
Syzygy.
I was not attempting it.
Yeah, Syzygy. So yeah, the next episode is Syzygy. It is like, I know I've seen it multiple times, but honestly, well, here's the thing. I don't think it's a bad episode. I don't think it's going to be one that we get to and dislike. It's just I struggle to remember much about it. I know there's 2 women in it, 2 sisters, that they get up to some stuff. They're kind of the villains of the week, if you want to call them that. I remember a particular joke that is made towards Scully about her height, which is really amusing. But other than that, I can't remember anything about this episode. I've definitely watched it multiple times, and I've definitely enjoyed it. It's not one where I've like, oh, that's a bad episode. So yeah, it'll be interesting to get to that one and watch it again with fresh eyes. So
okay. Interesting. So there we have it. That's something to look forward to, an episode that you're not overly familiar with. So we'll see how we go on the next episode. So thanks for joining us. Make sure to drop a little review on iTunes for us if you're there. It really helps people discover the show and helps us grow a little bit more. And we will see you for episode 13 of season 3. It's got a title that I won't...
Syzygy.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.